Hi, welcome again to this episode. I want to look at PEACEWICK University, which is the pre-release case for the 2022 IB Business and Management exam. Now, as a disclaimer, this analysis is nothing from the IB organization, and the intention here is really just to give an idea or to help in preparation. Okay, so let's look at the first thing. So what I'll be doing is to highlight some of the main terms that I think you would need to look at as students preparing for the exam, and also a SWOT analysis, and then just some areas from the syllabus that I think you should look at in your preparation for the paper one IB Business and Management 2022 exam. All right, so the first thing that I have here are just some key terms that I think will give an idea as to what the case is about. So I have 21st Century Society. So it's an organization, well, it's a university that is meeting the needs of students within the 21st century. It is well known in AI and medicine. It is also a non-profit organization. They have a board of trustees. It is critical also to understand what happened in the external environment, the accident that happened near the university, and it impacted the university tremendously. You also need to remember the economic recession that is taking place in country A, where the university is. You need to focus also on what happened in terms of how on-site teaching was affected. Also, that they switched to online lectures and also online courses. International students were also affected here. Compensation, students were asking for compensation. They had a case of redundancy. However, they received funding from the government, and the funding that they received from the government helped in terms of, well, the idea was to work on the business plan that they had for the new academic year, looking at renewable energy. They also were looking at to make some changes in the pay structure. Local students were also affected. There was an issue in terms of revenue where there was a fall in revenue. So apparently the university experienced cash flow issues. They also had to maintain operating costs, even though the country was faced with an economic recession. They decided that they were going to continue with aggressive marketing to ensure that the university is still well known and the brand reputation, the brand reputation was being maintained. They also look at investment, how they could invest to ensure that promotion is key. Students had issues in terms of their satisfaction, and the standard of teaching after the survey was done was actually improved. You also find that they had different format of delivering the classes. They had now face-to-face lessons. They, as I mentioned before, they had cash flow problems, so they were getting financial support, commercial production in terms of the medicine that they wanted to commercialize if it's approved. The IT department also created a prototype equipment, which can also help in terms of the getting the university to be able to manage their financial difficulties. We have applications here. Training is also another key term. Government grants that was given economically disadvantaged students. You have staff turnover based on what happened in terms of the financial difficulties of the university. You have a staff who was unfairly dismissed, and it created low morale, even though the university had equality policies. They also had a change in behavior. Social media is also a critical thing that you need to focus on. They also receive money from a multinational organization, which is one of the largest in the country. Also focus on political activists, look at the sustainability issues. They also mention in the case about the CSR, corporate social responsibility, which is key going forward and to build a new reputation for the university. You also need to look at the strategies and methods of um, of production in terms of whatever they're doing. Is it ecologically sustainable? And they also looked at how to change the employment contracts and also carbon footprint. So these are just some key terms that you can use to get an idea of what the case is. Now, quickly, let's look at a SWOT analysis. Now, so the SWOT analysis, it looks at the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats of the university. You must remember that the strengths and weaknesses are internal, whereas the opportunities and threats are external. So the strengths of the university is that one, they have a very strong history. It was founded in 1933. Two, the variety of programs they offered. Three, the ability to attract local and international students. It's one of the most popular universities in the country based on the survey. The quality of teaching is well known. They have a brand for that. They have excellent employees in terms of how they reacted to the difficulty and the accident. They also have strong leadership, and Adriana is the person at the helm of this. Another strength is that they have the ability to respond quickly to crisis management and to changes. The mission statement is also forward looking, which is also good. It gives a direction as to where the university wants to go. That is also a strength. The university has an environment that is inclusive, is flexible, and there is also freedom of speech. They had good training opportunities, and they're looking at being ecologically sustainable, which is also good. But apart from that, they have some weaknesses. One, they're not specialized in any discipline. And remember, you can't be all things to all men. So that could be a weakness for them. They probably just need to be known as the university for medicine or for IT. Another weakness is not being able to capitalize on the use of the facilities due to the accident. That is going to put them back against their competitor because they're not able to use the university and to use the facilities. In the case, it's also mentioned that they had inadequate IT skills, especially for the lecturers when they moved to online teaching. They also suffered, or it's a weakness where insufficient IT equipment for staff and teachers, for staff and students. So staff and students didn't have enough equipment to use, and that's a weakness. There's also difficulty for lecturers to teach without face-to-face contact, saying that the teachers might be traditional, and that is a weakness for the university. Courses were not meeting the standards based on the expectations of the clients, the students, and that's a weakness. Students were dissatisfied, and hence they had a fall in revenue, which would have created poor publicity for the university. That's a weakness. They had cash flow problems because they were experiencing the country was in a state of economic recession. Then you have low staff morale. So people are not encouraged, they're not motivated, and then that resulted in high staff over, which all of these are weaknesses. And also they had a reduction in the number of international students. So looking at the internal aspect of the university, you need to focus on the strengths and weaknesses. Now let's just switch over now to the opportunities and threats. So one, there is the opportunity for growth in AI and medicine, right? And that's a good opportunity for the university. They also will receive, well, it is stated that they should receive some funding from the government and from one of the world's largest software companies. That's a good opportunity for them. They have the benefits of the research that will create good opportunity. It would create it will create some publicity where they will look at the university in a positive light if they are able to pull off this research. So the research that they want to engage in is to reduce the impact on people and animals, right? That's another good opportunity. There's also the opportunity of the university getting into partnership with this largest software company. They also stated based on the business plan that they wanted to expand the structure of the university. Again, that could also be a weakness because right now where we are in terms of higher education, the physical structure as in the past is not so much critical again, but it's really most of these universities are going online, and students are becoming even more familiar with online. Also, another opportunity is that they're thinking of installing renewable energy sources, a solar panel, which stated that their energy bill was reduced. They're looking at aggressive marketing, guerrilla marketing, which is key in Unit 4. That was a good opportunity. They're thinking of commercial production of the medicine. That would be a massive opportunity for them. And also the faculty of IT, they produce the prototype equipment. Amazing training opportunities and also expansion to country B are good opportunities. Now let's run over to the threats. They have some threats here, right, from the external environment because there's an economic recession, right? They had also accident which resulted in buildings being damaged. So that again might create a level of hesitancy from those who might want to apply to the university. Now, this is also a threat. The time it's gonna take to have the area or the environment totally free from all the chemical harm. So that is going to be a threat to them. The area may develop a stigma due to the accident. People might not want to go there because the water might not be safe. Online teaching and courses may have issues due to students' internet connections and time zoning as well. The reduction in the number of international students, so they're going to have less money, tuition fees collecting less, and that's a threat for them. And also the competitors and the international students might choose another university. There's also the accusation of one of the companies funding the medical research. And once there's an accusation, it's going to create a public image. And if they align or not align, then that can create some issues for them, which is a threat. There's also the controversy of the appointment of one of the trustee based on the case, based on what the case stated about racism and things like that in the case. And there's also a change in needs of students. So these are the threats. Then just to go quickly, look at some critical areas that I think you might need to focus on when you're looking at the case. So in Unit 1, business organization and environment, I think you need to focus on the types of organization. You need to look at growth strategies. Go back and look at Ansoff matrix. Ensure that you have an understanding of the environmental factors. Look at the external environment. Look at growth and evolution, whether they're going to do a joint venture, partnership, anything like that. Look at stakeholder analysis. Know the stakeholders of the university, internal stakeholders, external stakeholders. Also in Unit 1, focus on the corporate social responsibility of the university. For Unit 2, human resource management, training, go back, look at induction, orientation, on-the-job training, look at redundancy, look at 2.6, which is industrial relations, look at trade unions and things like that, and also focus on leadership styles. You could also look at motivation here as well. Now for Unit 3, finance and accounts, you need to revise cash flow analysis, see how that can link with the case, look at the sources of finance, look at grants, probably sale of asset, different ways of sources of finance. Look at revenue streams, look at capital revenue and expenditure, look at investment appraisal, and you can also look at budgets and relate it tied back to the case. Then we have uniform marketing, which I think is also critical. You need to go back and look at the STP marketing model, segmentation, targeting, and positioning. Look at unique selling point. You can also look at the position map or the product position map. Look at market and product orientation, whether or not the university will be creating courses and then advertising it to the potential students, or it will be the other way around. Look at also guerrilla marketing, which is, as a case mentioned, Adriana engage in aggressive marketing. Look at social media marketing. We also need to consider brand recognition, whether or not the university, if the brand image will actually change. All right, look at corporate image, and also you can look at pricing, because in the case it mentioned that local students and international students were being charged differently, and hence that is price discrimination. But also look at marketing of services for HL students. You're using the 7 P's: people, physical, evidence, and processes, and that is important to look at. Okay, and then finally for Unit 5, operations management. Now you need to look at operations management strategies and practices in being ecologically sustainable. Again, that is important. Also, location is key on the operations management. Location. Should they go to country B? Should they consider probably changing the location in country A? Look at crisis management. Look at crisis management and contingency planning. And I will also say you should look at production methods, because it's customized, it's job production now, because the case mentioned that they now were having smaller classes, face-to-face classes. All right, so these are just some of the areas that I think you should look at. Remember, this is not exhaustive. This is not all that probably could be a part of the case analysis, but I think this should help you in preparing for your exam. Okay, so I hope that this helps, and all the best for your exam.